of a vein. This one is cracking. This is cracking. This is older extension. This is older extension. This is medial suture. This is cracking. This is anti axial growth. This is syntaxial growth. This is cracking. This is growth direction. This is cracking. This is younger extension. This is younger extension. This is cracking. Ataxia growth refers to veins due to repeated openings and sealing of fractures, plain jumping positions within the growing veins. Crack seal mechanism: linear bands of regularly oriented and spaced solids and fluid inclusions parallel to the vein wall across the mineral fibers suggest repeated micro fracturing of the fibers. Micro boundinage followed by the deposition of optically continuous overgrowth that heals the fracture. The crack seal mechanism. Dikes. Veins filled by roots are classified as dikes. Intrusive clastic dikes contain fluidized or brachiated sediment that have hydraulically injected into fractures of the overlying sediment. Neptunian dikes represent sediment filling from above of open fracture that may penetrate deep in the layers. Then is the joint and veins in relation to other structures. Fractured sets often constitute geometrical relationship to other structure orientation. Tabular regions in a flat-lying sediment that have undergone little or no deformation. The most prominent joints usually are vertical and exhibit a marked consistency in the orientation patterns. Folded regions. Joints are often a part of a deformation in regions where rocks have been folded. Longitudinal joints are rough parallel to the fold axis and often fan around the fold. Cross joints are approximately perpendicular to the fold axis. Diagonal joints generally occur in paired conjugate set oblique to fold axis, more or less symmetrical, arranged about the longitudinal and cross joint. Strike joints are parallel to the strike of the fold axial planes, whereas the cross strike joints cut across the axial plane. This is diagonal joint. This is joint spanning around the fold. This is cross joint. This is longitudinal joint. This is joint sets associated with folds. Then is the Gaussian curvature or stress history analysis can predict the orientation and relative intensity of a fracture within folded structures. The faulted regions, the joints associated with the faults may predate the faults and therefore may be genetically unrelated to the faults. Apart from a geometrical control on orientation of fault planes, an echelon and sigmoidal veins. The tip of a small lens-shaped veins tension gases propagate in a direction perpendicular to the incremental principal extension. This is undeformed rock. This is shortening direction. This is shear rock. This is stretching direction. Development of an echelon tension gauge array in a brittle shear zone. Instantaneous stretching and shortening direction do not rotate during shearing. Since tension gases initiate as early increments of brittle strain, the alignment of an echelon veins is parallel to potential shear fracture, initially segmented in parallel and obliquely aligned dilatant joints or veins. This one is an echelon tension gauge array. This is new tension gauge. This is folded gauge vein. This is shear rock. Development of a sigmoidal tension gauge array in a brittle shear stone. Instantaneous stretching and shortening direction do not rotate during shearing. An echelon veins become sigmoidal, that is S or Z shaped, when the central part of the vein along with the rocks bridges in between has rotated while the vein has lengthening during deformation. Conjugate pairs of an echelon array where distorted portions of veins in both the arrays are parallel The length of extension fraction bisects the acute angle between the potential conjugate and shear stresses. Configuration of a conjugate Vane's array. This is convergent. This is sigma 3. These are the directions. These are the directions. Sigma 1. This is parallel. This is an equivalent pattern. This is divergent. This one is the direction. This one is the direction. This one is the direction. This is sigma 3. Conjugate pairs of an equivalent array where the undistorted portions of Vanes in one array are not parallel to the undistorted Vanes of Vanes in the other array. Then is the sigma 1, then is sigma 3, the tension gas, an equivalent array of tension gases along conjugate bitter shear stresses and sigmoidal gases due to heterogeneous rotation of gases in these shear zones. Then is the lengthening tip, sigma 3, sigma 1, non-rotated younger gas, rotated tension gas, tension gases with anti-crack stylolites, paired tension gases and styloids may occur as pinnate fractures on opposite sides of small faults, in particular at extremities of minor slip planes. Vane boundaries move away from one another as the veins opens. Conversely, the surface of a stylotic move towards each other as it forms, which originates the name of anti-crack. Then is the pair tension veins and styloids at the tips of a sinistral movement planes. Pressure solution on stylotic anti-crack. Opening of tension gas. This is opening of rhomb shaped cavity. This is general sense of shear. This one can be pinnate joints. Pinnate joints are the arranged diagonally, often in an echelon array in an immediate vicinity of the fault plane. Intrusive bodies. Joint systems in igneous rocks can result from stress arising during the cooling of rock mass within or out of regional stress field. Primary features of plutonic rocks. Primary fracture systems. Primary joint system of plutonic rocks are dihydrate veins and dikes directly associated with the emplacement and with the fabric flow of plutonic bodies. Then is the four main systems have been identified and are vacantly given the names as the joint systems in the deformed sediments. Cross joints, longitudinal joints, S joints, diagonal joints or marginal joints, flat lying joints or stretch joints. Then are the dikes. Dikes habitually form sets and swans associated with plutonic bodies.